trained for the strength to lift 10 horses, or better yet, the speed to run across an entire kingdom in a mere second. I, for one year, to cast my voice across the span of entire kingdoms, thus entrancing all with my magnificent voice. What if I tell you that you were not alone in your desires? For the world into which we shall peer into shares the same dreams and ambitions. Let us gaze into the musings of superpowers, tackled by our very own dysfunctional duo in Ramble Shamble.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to our first episode in this world of podcasts. My name is Mackie. I am accompanied by my partner in crime here, Uton. Say hi, Uton.
Heyo.
Yes, him and myself, both two people from different situations or different backgrounds, different upbringings, are just here to kind of, chat about certain concepts and topics that we find interesting to ourselves. We hope that it's interesting to you as well, and hopefully we can spark a bit of curiosity from you guys to possibly come into ourselves. Now, before we get into the topic of it, right now we're a startup. We are going to have a Discord, it's probably set up already, and we welcome your guys' involvement into this, which we will get more in detail at the end of this podcast. But Uton, how are you doing today? Everything going well on your side?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty peachy, eh? I had an amazing workout,
Ooh.
and so I'm feeling pretty docile right now. Really in the mood for a chat instead of doing something intense. So I'm prepped.
That's perfect. No, I had a good gym session today. Feel like crap afterwards, but hey, drinking lots of water. I know you have a bit of other after activities you also do. Like, how do you deal with stress, like stiffness? That's the worst thing that I come across.
Well, I always make sure it's part of my exercise routine that I do a warm up, but then also a warm down at the end. And I normally shower immediately after I exercise as well. So I'm sure the heat has some kind of benefit towards the whole relaxation process. All
Yeah.
those heat shock proteins and such. I'm still working on cold shock proteins, but I'll get there someday.
Yeah, I've also heard of ice baths. I know many athletes love to use ice baths to kind of just cool down the muscles. I don't think they I will admit a cold shower after a hot gym session does really help, but I'm not sure if it's so good for the muscles. I hear heat is the best thing for the muscles, especially when you need to massage or release that stress and the tension you built up. Okay, but let's get back into the topic of hand. The topic today, Uton, is powers, superpowers, powers that we see in the amazing shows like from Marvel, DC, My Hero Academia, and all the worlds of powers where humans have evolved or have been gifted or been irradiated or been different types of means where people get powers. I know I love comic books, and I've watched many TV shows where I've grown up loving powers and stuff. What's your background in the field of superpowers and maybe evolution?
Why? Because of X-Men.
I don't know. What's your background in powers and stuff? I kept watching the shows even to my age right now. I'm not sure did you keep up with, besides the movies? I know Avengers is an amazing Marvel already have made an amazing system over there, but for yourself, besides the movies, did you ever keep up with superpowers or watching any kind of shows that have superpower beings?
Yeah, I have. I'm also a big fan of anime. Probably my favorite is Naruto, but that's also because it was the first that I ever really watched. But I also liked the concept of Bleach. I really enjoy big concepts when working with those kinds of things, especially where they'll say, this is a world where this exists. For example, with Naruto, they'll say, this is a world where there are ninjas, and the ninjas can run super fast, but there's also this system of hand signs that they can use to unlock their inner chakras and stuff like that. So I really like it when there's a concept like the hand signs that is a system for doing things. It's the same with Brandon Sanderson's fantasy books, where he'll say, this world has a different law of physics from ours. There are these storms that go across the whole planet in cycles that can be predicted, and they replenish a kind of power source. And that's what people use to do this other magic system. And so I really like systems like that. But even simple premises like X-Men, where they say human evolution has brought a rapid mutation in neurons and genetics where it'll give them some kind of power. That's something you can like grasp and hold on to. It makes sense. Humans would evolve to be fitter to in their circumstances. So those are perfect. And I keep up with those things nowadays even.
So I love the intervention of Naruto, because I actually did not think of Naruto as powers, as superpowers. The mutation things, like I can definitely say that there's a grasp that humanity wants to kind of grab onto, because look, we'll get a bit more into the detail of which power, like the actual science behind the powers, not like detailed science, but not all superpowers actually make sense. I commonly remember the one Superman movie, which I will not mention. You guys, if you know Superman, you probably will know the scene. But many times when Superman fights a super strong enemy, say Doomsday, I think that's the one that people love the most, he often refers to being in a world made of cardboard. And he's finally able to release that tension, that frustration of experiencing everything that is not on his same level. Like Omni-Man in Invincible. He's a powerhouse, and he knows he's a powerhouse. I know you love that series quite a bit, and I think that's as a really nice, realistic point of view of superpowers.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Things don't always make sense, you know. There's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief that is like a granted with superpowers. But when we're talking about what's the best and the worst superpower, then we got to get a little bit into the nitty gritty.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. So to start off, so guys, I am, as you might have assumed, I am the host of this episode. My fellow friend Yuton will be probably leading the topic next time in the next episode.
Pardon me? It's Jotun.
Jotun. Sorry, you see, I even get it wrong. Jotun, guys, remember that. So let me start off. Okay, I know the world of powers, you touched on Naruto. We won't go into that level of depth. Maybe in another episode, if people want a Superpowers version 2.0 anime series where they go into chakras and cheese.
Oh boy, that'll be awesome.
So we can have another one. If you guys are wanting that, we can do that. But this time, I'm going to focus more onto, I think, the one series that fits this topic quite well is My Hero Academia. You know the series, I know the series, but I'm not going to focus on the series itself, but the three categories that the author or producer of the art, I think it's author, sorry, author has categorized powers into three main categories, and these categories are mutation, which are powers that are always active, so it's something that the user itself cannot turn off. So think of Beast from X-Men. He was a blue monster. he was always active. He could not turn off the beast mode. I know in the latest movies he can turn it off, but in the books and stuff he was always like wanting to become human again. Then there's Emitter, which is powers that can be activated and turned off when necessary. So an example would be Superman's heat vision. He can emit his eyes to shoot beams of energy and turn it off when he doesn't need it. The final category is transformation. It's where the user transforms themselves or persons into, they modify their bodies to become more powerful. So in this category would be Ant-Man growing from from a normal man to a small man, or from a small man to a giant man, or Monster Girl from invincible turning into a giant goblin troll. So again, they also have other categories where there's a combination of that there. We can touch on that, but I think for our case for this episode, we're just going to focus on one specific ability. And I want to start off with Yoton. What do you say is which is the best superpower that you think that people should have? And then we'll touch on the bad ones after that one.
Okay, cool. Before I start, though, I gotta say, you're such a nerd. Jeez. Like, you even got classifications for the powers.
I came prepared, my friend. I came prepared.
Okay, so, I didn't really go for the best superpower, because hands down, it would probably be Spidey sense. I can elaborate it a little bit later if you want. I went instead for a power that I really, really want, and that I think is a super solid power.
Okay, you hear it.
So, I think that the best way, well, to me it makes sense that all of what the power entails has to be in the name of the power. So if I say super strength, then that doesn't come with like, my skin, or it does come with super hard skin, but it doesn't come with like your bones being able to handle you carrying 50 tons of rock or something like that.
Okay, yeah, let me be specific here. So we want to be realistic. Like if we woke up in the morning and we just woke up with a set best power, what would it be for you? And again, it can't be. We will say like certain things we can ignore, like you said, super strength. But what if the bones aren't super strength? We will assume it's a combination of everything. But we have to be realistic to the point of like a scientific point of view that if you're super strong, the world does not revolve around you as well in situation.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so to encapsulate my entire power in one name, I chose Divergence Mastery.
Ooh.
And so basically this superpower it's the ability to see divergent paths of our choices in the multiverse, to actually process them, and then to basically phase shift into the outcome that I want.
Sure.
My desired outcome. And that doesn't entail anything else like I'm super smart or anything like that. It's just purely mastery of divergence. So you can see the things, you can process them, like the divergent paths, and then you can like slide into the one that you want to go to. And so that means that I can't say like I'm going to go to a thing or a different universe where people are ageless, or where people can fly, because that's not a choice or a pathway that diverges from my current what do they call it? What do they call those things? Time, like space time, my time continuum, or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything in the past that's happened to me so far, but it's a choice that I can make towards a better future that I want now. So I can be like, I just woke up in the morning and all of a sudden I can see all these divergent paths and I can process them as well because there'd be billions and trillions. And because I'm the master of divergence, it doesn't overload my brain. And then I see one where it's like, I can go to this one over here where I win the lottery or something. And then I just like quietly shift into it, And then it's like I was a poor person beforehand. I was, a student or whatever. And then I just suddenly win the lottery, That'd be awesome. Or
But just
yeah,
just to ask, just for clarity reasons. So when you like shift from one dimension to the other, do you leave like a copy of yourself to carry on in that kind of universe, or does that universe exist without you anymore? Because now you've shifted, and I'm not sure. Do you merge with yourself in that other universe?
okay, maybe I didn't think this through entirely. So logically, you would cease existing in your previous universe. But why would you care? But why would you care, really? Because it's you. You're in the new one now, right? You're in the new one. And as far as... And that old one is in your past. You're not going to go back to it. You can't really go back to it because my power doesn't entail any kind of like time travel. So 1 second into the future, or wait, if I go into the new place, then a second ago I was in the old universe. So I can't go back to that anyway. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. I don't care about that one.
I love that I don't care
Shame,
anymore. Because like all your family and friends are like heartbroken and destroyed, and you're like, well, I'm with this family and friends now. Like you just then I know like you've existed in both the timelines, so you wouldn't necessarily overwrite that version of yourself in that other timeline, or sorry, in that other version of universe. You just like assumed his position.
Yeah. So we would merge.
You would merge, but you wouldn't like, because in types of like merging, like people have spoken about this, like in the multiverse. There's a multiverse where Hogwarts existed, and you would overwrite or merge with them. But then, obviously, since Hogwarts is a thing, you must accumulate their memories of their existence always along. But like you said before,
yes. But remember now, we are exactly the same. Because it's a choice. It's that's why I said it's like divergence in space time because of a choice, kind of like a choice being made. And if up until this second, granted all the other conditions are the same, like I've got my same house and my same family, my same past experiences, somewhere in the multiverse, then I chose to slide into that universe up until that same point where we were completely the same. So it's not like I would go into the new universe and have different memories. It's just like my consciousness shifts into the new universe where there's a different outcome.
No, 100%. Now, I want to add another thing. So, again, you woke up in the morning, just now immediately a master of the power. No, not like kind of getting used to saying, holy crap, why am I seeing so many different versions of myself? Getting a bowl of cereal and then seeing you having one universe with no milk, another universe with water instead of milk, one universe with just cereal, one universe with just milk, one universe with just water, one universe of that. And how far can you see in the future? Because now you've had that bowl of cereal. Obviously, seeing it every one, or you're going to be like standing in the middle of the room, kind of like looking at that bowl of cereal for the next half an hour, deciding, oh, this cereal gets me to become president. This cereal makes me become super strong. This cereal makes me super lucky. Maybe a bit more info on that.
Geez, there probably is a limit to how far down the path I can see the divergent paths. But the thing that would happen also wouldn't happen instantly, per se. So it's like a universe where there's only milk and no water. up until that point, there has been water, but into the future there will be no water and only milk.
Ooh.
Because remember, the past and everything is the same until the divergence. So it wouldn't happen immediately. It's like it's the phase shifting that I take are nudges towards an outcome. It's not like I go into a universe and in that universe I'm busy skydiving because I've always wanted to skydive. No, I'm busy sitting on the toilet now, and I choose an outcome that will make me walk down the street where I meet a skydive instructor in a week's time. It's not like I'm going to be having a dump and then suddenly skydiving.
Oh, that would be so
Remember,
interesting.
Everything is the same up until that divergence.
The world's longest dump.
If humans were going to drink magma or something instead of water, then it would be like, okay, granted, this one's a bit different. So then it would be like, there I am having my bowl of cereal, and then I make a decision to go into a universe where in 5 seconds' time there's going to be a radiation wave or something that goes across the whole entire planet, and everybody mutates suddenly to drink magma.
Okay.
So either way, up until that point, it's all the same. But I guess the one weakness is how far into the future or how far down the divergent path can I see, which I assume would be infinite because it's Divergence Mastery and not just like being able to see it.
So I don't like the word mastery, but I think we need to move on to what I think is the best power. Because
but that's why I chose it.
No, I get you say mastery in the title, but still waking up the next morning, kind of like seeing different versions of yourself. And different timelines.
I would still need to get used to it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wake up one morning and I'm able to.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately we construct a time strain. I'm gonna say to you right now what I think is the best ability. Spy sense could be, but only when you're really going out on like the road, in case a bus comes at you, or if you try dodge a bullet or something. But I think the best power, like to wake up and have, is super persuasion. The ability to convince anyone to do what you say and believe it and believe what you say. So imagine going to a flight, going to an airport, and then they just say, "Sorry, sir, you don't have a flight today." And you say, "But I do. I got first class going to Dubai." They believe you. So having that kind of power to believe and agree to anything you say, and they wholeheartedly believe it. Not if you like walk off, they like think about but they just believe it. So if you say, "Hey, I won that lottery before. Like I got all those numbers," and they say, "Oh, but it doesn't. Oh, but yeah, you're actually right. Maybe these numbers are wrong. Here's all the money." I think that is the best power, where you just have the power to just kind of to say whatever you say, and they undeniably believe it. They won't have any second thoughts. They'll believe what you say and do what you say. You say, "Hey guys, you should walk and stop robbing that bank. You should actually go to the jail and put yourself into jail." They'll go do it. What do you think of that ability? I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds like a solid one. That seems pretty great. But I feel that there is some inkling of the Midas touch coming in over here.
Oh.
Do you know the story of Midas?
No, I don't. Explain to me.
Midas is that figure in Greek mythology that, sorry, I just got syllable salad. Everyone, syllable salad is when you fumble up words that you're saying and your mouth just kind of freezes and you basically guffaw. I
call it a brain fart, but carry on.
Syllable salad has got alliteration.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's better.
Okay.
But anyway, Midas was a figure in Greek mythology who, as a boon from one of the gods, anything that he touched would become gold. And long story short, his wife, his family, the food he ate, the water he wanted to drink, became gold before he could get that kind of nourishment or emotional comfort. And he basically just ruined everything that he touched. And I feel like your power's got something like that.
No,
Although
I agree.
I think it'll be an emotional thing
Yeah.
because you'd get to a point in your life where you're like, "Do you love me?" to a woman, and she'd be like, "Yes, I do," and then you'd think, "Does she really?" Or she'll answer, "Do you want me to love you?" At some stage in the future,
No, but
you know.
you see there, if you say, "Do you love me?" it's not a persuasion. Remember, it's persuading. So if you say, "Do you love me?" I didn't say, "You do love me." If she said no, and I said, "But you do," then she will love me. But
So then,
the
what's
point,
what's
it's the way
yeah?
it's way how you persuade it. So obviously, if I'm chatting to you now and I say,
Hmm.
"You believe me, right?" You believe me. But if I say, "What do you think of today's weather?" You're not gonna say, "Oh, I believe what you say." No, 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 no. It's about the fact that if I tell you something, you're gonna believe it. So if I tell you that's how things are done, you're gonna believe and do it. So
Yeah,
it's
but
persuasion.
I but persuasion also entails manipulation. We
No,
can't
100%.
we can't cut that out of it.
No,
So
100%. 100%. It's full on
there's
manipulation.
yes, but now you can't rule out questions. So if I had like a way to persuade you to do something for me, would be me being like, "Oh, I just came back from the gym. Could you please get a glass of water for me?
I would do it because you
Pretty
said
please."
because you told me to do it. But if you said, "I can't,
No,
I came
I
from the
didn't.
gym,"
I
I'm so
didn't.
no,
I didn't.
no. But if you said, "I came from the
I asked you,
gym,"
could you? I
ah,
asked you, could you? Or you phrase it differently. Would you be willing to? Can you?
ah.
And then the person, logically, the person will be like, yeah, sure, I can, you know?
No, but they would do it because you've told them to do it. But if you
No,
were,
you didn't. You haven't. You asked them, can you do that for me?
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah. No.
You see, when we get to manipulation, then, then the question comes of, like with me, what is the extent of your power?
Yeah.
Because you can, like actual persuasion in real life, which includes manipulation, uh, also
Mm.
has like the way people inflect their tones.
So maybe like I would, persuasion the power only activates if I'm going like a really high voice or something like that. Like,
A little bit. It's you, you might not know this, but in Dune, the sci-fi IP, there's something called the voice, where people speak in different tones, and they know that like the forcefulness and the pitch and the tone of your voice can basically be a superpower where you can convince anyone to do absolutely anything, like order them basically, and they will do it. All you need to learn is the right way to use the voice for a specific person. And that's something that's a class of people called the Bene Gesserits and that can do. So um, I basically view that as your superpower,
I guess
and
that's
it
true.
would 100% include manipulation. So it
No.
wouldn't just be blunt statements like, but I am going, like this air ticket is free, like, or I do have business class on this. It wouldn't just be statements. It would also be like, you know, that tree is a little bit in the, like,
In the
it's
way.
blocking the sun a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah. And then someone around you will be like, oh, geez, well, I guess that tree has to go, you know?
Okay. Okay. So we just discussed the best powers. Let's briefly go over the worst power. Let me start this time. You started last time. kind of like round it off. So I did some research, and there is a TED Talk person who I'm sure you've seen the same thing, where he goes over the different superpowers. Like he goes over super strength, why that power in the scientific world would not really work in the way that we might hope it would, like Mr. Incredible. And he goes over for a number of powers, but the power that I think actually sticks out quite a bit, and I think most people actually wish they did have the power, is immortality. Because if we were immortal, I think the main power, the main distinguishment, is that it's not immortality with automatic healing like Deadpool or Wolverine. It's immortality, the inability to die. And
Yeah.
this TED Talk actually
Oh, no.
nailed some points where if you could not die, but if you lost all your limbs, you would still not die, but you were still alive, but you have none of your limbs. Your teeth would fall out. And I have to say, I think that's probably the worst power, is because that means you are essentially putting yourself in a jail. You're basically putting yourself in an endless, lifeless jail. I'm not sure. Do you have a worse power in your side, or do you think that is better, that is worse than immortality?
I just first want to say I agree that immortality is a pretty crap power, but not for the reason that you or that guy said. I would say that immortality is not invincibility. So all that it means is that you don't die because of your body's deterioration, really. So I would say that, and I based this purely on like my knowledge of the elves from Lord of the Rings. You live forever,
Calling me
or you
the
can
nerd.
live for. You can live forever, but you can still be killed and you can still be wounded. It's just, for me, immortality purely means that the senescent cells, or as your cells, the cells in your body go through senescence, and for a normal person now, for immortality, that means it doesn't happen. Your telomeres and stuff don't become shorter, and you basically just don't age. That's all immortality means. You're not aging. Because immortality and invincibility are totally different things. But anyway, we all know about the emotional stuff that comes with immortality, and the boredom and things as well. So, but even that, when if you're immortal, you're only going to live till the sun kills us. Granted, you stay safe, and we don't leave the planet. But anyway, it's gonna seem, well, so super speed. No, there's no way you can survive all of the friction and stuff that would come from that. So if you have super speed, then if you don't want to be incinerated by your super speed, you would have to set your own like speed limit of whatever someone can handle, sticking their head out of a car window or something, bro. Or like just the G-forces on your body would mess you up. So super speed would be a pretty terrible one. Super strength, I think, because of the square cube law, basically. And for me, super strength doesn't mean like super density as well. That would be a totally separate power. Super strength would be like muscle power. For me, the absolute worst is basically any kind of telepathy, because you've watched the movie Logan, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that, granted, Professor X had like dementia or something, but I think that anything that is purely a mental power and that isn't coupled with your body, like, is a big weak point in the power. Because, and this is the key thing, when you sleep, what does your power do? Because because, oh geez, that probably makes my power bad as well.
Yeah, for sure, because he's gonna like merge into different universes.
but then
there's gonna
when
be
I
so
when
many
I wake
sad
up,
parents and friends.
but then when I wake up, I can just go to a nice one again.
Yeah,
So it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad for you. Just like hearing the screams of the other universes, like crying their asses off, eventually running out of
Yeah.
multiverses.
Yeah. So my reasoning now is anything that's purely mental means that while you're dreaming, you can your brain can still use that power.
It's
because
basically making my power also bad because now I'm like busy sleeping and say, go kill everyone, and then
not necessarily. So your persuasion is coupled to you actually speaking.
Yeah.
And convincing people. That's why mine would be bad because it's just like purely mental. But with purely mental powers, what we can say about sleep is that with most people at least, when you sleep, like I mean, if you don't have some kind of psychological or brain neurochemical problem, when you sleep, your brain cuts out your motor movement of your body while you sleep for most people. So that means that most physical or like superpowers are safe, at least while you're sleeping. But if it's just your brain, bro, then that thing's gonna go places while you're down there, like down under. Just because especially when you're dreaming, because you're either purely an observer in your dreams, and that for me that means no control about what your brain is doing, or you are conscious. And if you're conscious, then you're going to be doing what you're used to in real life for the most part anyway. So I've lucid dreamt a few times in my life, and in that I would be like, literally, this werewolf is chasing me. Why? This is my dream. I'm going to take out a shotgun and fire at the werewolf, you know? I make a conscious decision to do that. So I think if you are lucid dreaming even, then first of all, you can do anything you want, but your immediate fallback will be your superpower. And then,
that's true.
So that's basically what happened to Professor X, where he just murdered like a quarter of the mutants in the world because he was hooked up to Cerebro or something, you know? If you're in any kind of altered state of consciousness, your power is going to go whack and haywire, and you're going to wake up to the debris of human society around you, or your life will be in pieces.
I will say that is very true, and I like that. I think we touched on some really great good powers with their negatives associated, and some really bad powers. I think the final point before we end our little ramble is the category that I have not that I want to kind of poke your mind. Okay, so we spoke about the fact of you woke up in the morning and woof, you got your power. Now, let's expand that. Let's expand it to the whole world. Let's say everyone got the power that they always kind of dreamed they thought or believed they would love to have had all their entire life. There was some sort of flare from the sun, as maybe slightly imitated everyone. Now everyone's got the power that they've always wished they could have had. What would you think would happen to that world? I'll give you an indication. So I want two things from you. Do you think the world would survive? And do you think it would be a positive move for humanity? Like, look, you can look a little bit more in the future. Maybe there was a bit of like a shaky start, because everything has a bit of a shaky start. But what do you think would happen to the world? And do you think it would have been a positive move for the world of evolution for humanity?
No, dude. You don't give the monkeys the sticks.
that is a straight point there.
like inevitably there'll be someone who has like the ability to just fling nukes all over the place, and things will be on fire and frozen. It'll be mayhem. I think, especially with people not knowing their powers in the beginning and like how to control them, or even what they are, or the sensation that's associated with using it, then it's like targeting a new muscle when you go to the gym, that or having a weak muscle. For me, for example, now, for a long time I didn't even know what it felt like to squeeze my glutes, because the types of exercise that I was doing didn't target them at all. So I didn't even know what it felt like to squeeze my glutes. So that it would be exactly the same with the powers. It would just happen. You wouldn't know what it was going on, or like you would feel a feeling, and then there would be magma flying out of your mouth, or like neon rays or something. And then before you even have time to process the fact that that's the feeling associated with that power, your house is on fire. So I think, yeah, but also human nature, man. The scale of superpowers is too big. Everybody getting superpowers at the same time, the world would be chaos. Just like so, no, humanity wouldn't progress. It would all be downhill. It would probably be like a Fallout scenario before some totally OP superhero is able to sort some things out.
You see, that's where I find it interesting, because we as humanity, like, look, I've dreamed of it. I'm sure everyone has, who's seen or read comic books, always kind of envy the superpowered beings that they've grew up loving. And your point is just the point. It would be an amazing thing for me to wake up the next morning having my power of choice, or you having your power of choice. But when everyone gets that same power, are we not? I say we're still all special. Like, I believe all humanity is very special at the moment. We are incredibly special. But I feel like everyone having powers is not what everyone envies, because if everyone has different powers and makes them special, then they will start envying the next thing that makes them unique. And I think that's such a thing about the human mind, is that we crave to go towards being uniquely special to everyone, because that's why our superhero icons are so iconic, is because not they there to protect the masses of people, and they're the only ones that can do it because the situation has put them into the seat of power. Like, I'm not sure. Let me ask you this: would you prefer, and maybe you can add on comment on what I just said? Would you if you had two buttons and you didn't have to press them? One button gave everyone powers, which you basically said will lead to the end of the world or end of the universe, and the other button says that only you get your power. Would you press that button?
Yeah, only I want the power. That's what it's about, really. You want to be, yeah, special, but also, what you're getting at is actually a pretty deep thing about human nature, if you think about it. Like, there is the immediate gratification that would come from superpowers, which everybody kind of wants, and I don't personally think many people would become a hero. Like, we're all a bit too self-interested, or we wouldn't even know how to use it in a totally
It'll be
beneficial way.
accidents, yeah, or be mainly accidents and people hurting themselves more often.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you got something like super strength and you knew the limits of it in terms of what you can carry, you could help you can help someone carry all the I-beams to build a building faster, and that'd be great and all. And if you got something like Superman level strength, how many Mount Kilimanjaros or something, or geez, how many icebergs that a boat is careering towards can you destroy before it destroys the boat?
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
after a while there'll be no practical use of your power that doesn't feel like a waste of your power. So that's why I think, like, small instances, like isolated episode or encapsulated uses of your power. So I don't mean it like that, sorry. Power that only applies to you and your own life is actually the thing that is desired, because nobody would be a hero that much, not in my opinion. And you don't want your power to scale to influencing the whole world. But also like, you do want to feel special. And why I was saying it's got a lot to do with like the nitty-gritty of human nature is, and I found your point to be quite interesting. Like, maybe the whole thing about superpowers is the social status that comes with it. Like, people edifying you and viewing you as a god of some kind. Like, you just apotheosized into a superhero. That's the process of becoming a god, by the way. But yeah, so I think you hit something you hit the nail on the head about human nature.
Guys, whoever's listening to us, first off, thank you very much for listening to us ramble and discuss our views on the best, the worst, and the should powers actually exist in our world as of today. These points that we talk about, as you can tell, it's us talking and getting a view of everything. Unfortunately, we are approaching out of time, but to end off, before we end off, we just need to let you guys know. Again, this is the first episode. Not too sure when this comes out. It might come out when all our different channels and social medias have come out. We plan to post some YouTube videos, one on our channel that we plan in the future. Once it's up, we will definitely spread it out. We do have an active Discord channel, which would be happy for you guys to join right now. You can even chat about us, about the episode you just listened to us. And we plan to have a Twitter, a number of different channels, which we will post as soon as we get a chance. On the YouTube channel that we will have, we also post these videos there and would have the associated links associated with. Yoton, anything from your side?
You can find everything in the show notes.
Good. Guys, something that we want to be a little bit get from your side. You've heard us speak about the best, the worst, and also, what do you think should powers exist in the world? Would you be the only one? Would you like to be the only one with power, or would you think everyone in the world should have the power, and you think the world would come out in a better situation? We want to hear your guys' point of view, because something that we will do maybe in a own little episode on its own is we want to hear your guys' viewpoints. We want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys agree with what Mackie says is the best power? If you do, brilliant, because this is the point. You guys must now decide who brought the better argument to the situation, on the best and the worst power. Do you think the powers should be... Who do you think brought the better argument? And if you had a choice between the best and worst power, what would it be? And your turn?
Yeah, it's all about you guys having a conversation with us as well. So, yeah, subscribe at places where you can subscribe, follow in places where you can follow, and comment.
And we hope to hear you guys in the next one. Thanks very much, guys. See you in the next episode.